I would say that what this does and what my goal is for the conference, my goal for the conference is that that it's a catalyst. I'm not interested in going to Canada and trying to lead a national movement from the States, right? Like, I'm not trying to do that. I better stop here because I'll go out of range. I'm not trying to do that. What I'm trying to do, my goal is that we see Canadians rise up and take these principles of abolition, and Canadians who have a far better grasp on Canadian politics, Canadian law, and Canadian culture, to take the principles of abolition and do it within their context. I'm no expert. None of us are experts that are coming from the States on Canadian anything. Some have never been to Canada before. But the fact is that biblical principles transcend borders. And you have to hear this, because I know there will be Canadians, especially pro-life leaders, who say, well, what do these people know? And there will be probably pastors that will say the same sorts of things. What do these people know? Who do they think they are coming up here to tell us what to do? Well, I'll tell you who we think we are. We think we're Christians who have a Bible that reads the same way in English in Canada as it reads in the United States. And so we're putting forward the principles, and we are praying that God will stir, just like it's happened in the States, a grassroots movement of abolitionists who rise up and take those principles and apply it in the context of Canada. And so, yeah, that's what the goal is in my mind. And I plan on this week communicating that with the American speakers in particular by email, just saying, hey, just to let you know what we're trying to do here. And I think they all get that anyway. But I think that will be very, very important. And that's been my goal along the way as I've been going up there. Even when I was there in March, that was my goal in March when I was up there in Ingersoll, Ontario, that we would just do that. Now, along the way, our church is sending a team, a short-term missions team to come with. They'll help with the conference in the back end of the trip. On the front end of the trip, we'll be doing some evangelism in the Peterborough area and working with Braidwood Bible to do some evangelism there in Peterborough. And so I'm excited about that. And you could pray about that too. On the front end, before the conference, there will be evangelism taking place in Peterborough, and probably we'll do something in Toronto, in downtown Toronto, do some open air preaching down there, and along the way out to Mississauga. A word about the Greater Toronto Area, the GTA. It's a mission field. I mean, Toronto has always been, for a long, long time, one of the most international cities in the world. And you've always had a remarkable number of people from all over the world. You can walk down the street in downtown Toronto and just run into people from, you name it, all over the world. And so you go into the Mississauga area, and it's remarkable the number of pagan temples that exist all across Mississauga. And I really mean temples. Like, you can drive along the QEW in there and the 401, and you can see a Muslim mosque with an actual prayer tower that they use. It looks like you're dropped right in the Middle East somewhere. There's another temple that you see from there that is, I believe it's Hindu temple, and it looks like something straight out of India. I mean, it's remarkable. It's huge. There's all kinds of like Buddhist temples and, you name it, it's there. There's actually like an apologetics group there that will take you on a tour of all of these pagan temples in that area. And so it is a target-rich environment for the gospel, for evangelism. And so, we talk about doing missions along the way with these abolitionist conferences. I don't think you'll ever have a more ripe opportunity to take the gospel to the world than what you're having with this conference. Like, you will have opportunities. Every time I go to Canada, it's this way. And even if I'm talking to people who are born and bred in Canada, and I end up getting an opportunity, it's remarkable how many people, and the people who have gone with me from our churches will testify to it, that there are so many there who don't know anything about the gospel of Jesus Christ. They know nothing. And so you're sharing the gospel with people who have never heard it, especially in the GTA. But it was that way too everywhere we've been over the last, I guess it's been a year and a half, 2 years of going up there. I've got a friend that runs a convenience store up there who is a Sikh. And, every time I go by his convenience store, I stop in there and we chat. He's gotten Bibles, gospel tracts, everything like that. And I ask him questions about Sikhism and I share the gospel with the guy. And and he'd never heard it. When I asked the first time I went in there, I said, "Have you ever heard the Christian message?" And he was like, "No one's ever told me." So, I would encourage you to think. The conference goes from the 18th to the 20th. Obviously, the church is on the 21st. I'll be there at the mill on the 21st attending church. But, if you've got time and you can book some extra time to hang out a little bit in the Mississauga, Greater Toronto area and go do some evangelism, Steve can tell you some places that you could go. I could tell you a few places, but Steve would know better than me. And just go there and take some tracts and share I think you'd be missing out if you did not take the opportunity to evangelize while you're there. Take some extra time we're going to be doing it with mission outreaches, of course, while we're there. But I really think you ought to try to spend some extra time there if you can on the front end or the back end and just hand out some tracts and have some conversations with people. And I think you'll see what a mission field, the Greater Toronto area, Canada in general, Ontario, Southern Ontario in particular, is. And so you'll be a great encouragement just by coming. You'll be if you're coming from the States or wherever and you come, you'll be an encouragement to the believers there that you took the time to do it. And if you're coming from other parts of Canada, it'll be a great time of fellowship and strengthening of networking. And it's a big country, and you're not going to get many of these opportunities. I know it's short notice, but I think if you make the sacrifice to come, it'll be a great blessing, not only to you, but to everyone around you. You will bless others by being there and being a part of this. And I'm praying that, people... I'm a bit of a pietist, I admit it. I believe that it's going to take a revival. It's going to take a revival in the States. It's going to take a revival in Canada to really see abolition take root. Well, when you're preaching principles such as the law of God, you're preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ, and you are preaching about prayer, and you're preaching about the subjects that we're covering, evangelism, those are the subjects that are calculated. I think it was A.W. Pink that said that if you want revival, you have to preach the things that are calculated to bring about a revival. And these are the things that are. You know, I would encourage you and to pray along the same lines, that God may revive his work in the midst of years, that he would revive the believers in Canada, encourage them, strengthen them to be very bold, not just for abolition, but for the gospel as a whole. And so that's my prayer too. So I hope you'll join us September 18th to the 20th, the Mill Christian Fellowship, Mississauga, Ontario. I'll put the link in here just to make sure this is right, but I think it's mapleabolitionist.ca is where you can register. And if you can help just by donating anything, it'll be a big help. All right, thanks.